our continuing coverage tonight is, of course, the final presidential debate, and the polls, for the most part, are showing Joe Biden in the lead. But after 2016, can you trust the polls? Our Joe St. George gives us a look at the process and what's changed in the last 4 years.
I don't even look at the polls. I didn't look at them 4 years ago. I don't look at them now.
Perhaps you feel like David Bartlett. When he's out to eat and talking politics, he has no time for anyone that brings up the latest presidential polls.
4 years ago, it was supposed to be a landslide Hillary victory, and what happened?
So is Mr. Bartlett right? Are polls irrelevant, or can you actually trust the polls? To find out,
Patrick Murray,
we interviewed
Lee Miringoff,
two of the nation's most respected and experienced pollsters, Patrick Murray of the Monmouth University Polling Institute and Lee Miringoff from Marist College Poll.
I think there's a lot of benefit.
Miringoff still views polls as a useful tool, revealing which issues matter the most to voters, and also
A source of information beyond just what the candidates and maybe even the media are offering about a race.
For Patrick Murray, polls provide a public service.
polling gives us a window onto who we are as a people.
But the polling industry knows they have a credibility problem,
Thank you all so much.
with recent critics tracing the issue back to 2016. For instance, in Wisconsin, the day before the election in 2016, Hillary Clinton had a 6.5-point lead in the polls, according to Real Clear Politics polling averages. President Trump would go on to win the state.
The problem that we had in 2016 was not that polling was any more inaccurate than it had been in the past. It was just that the inaccuracies happened to be in one particular direction.
What pollsters now know is then candidate Donald Trump persuaded white voters to break with long-held predictable voting habits and vote for him. Polling samples that once represented the population at large no longer did. Pollsters say they've since adjusted. Some say the polls didn't account for the so-called shy Trump voter, or President Trump supporters who are reluctant to reveal their candidate preference. Our experts disagree.
There you go.
The so-called secret Trump voter doesn't exist in terms of polling.
That brings us back to our original question. Can you trust polls?
So the polls, can be trusted not to sway you necessarily, but to inform.
I think the idea behind averages is a good one because there always is going to be a range of results.
As for David Bartlett, well,
It's going to be what it's going to be.
in Washington, I'm Joe St. George.
Joe, thank you. And we're watching out for you to make sure you are informed with the facts this election. We've put together a comprehensive voter guide for you. You can find that at KOAA.com.